You know, driving a racing car has become increasingly safe over the years, but driving on the roads remains a very dangerous proposition, especially for teenage drivers. In fact, car accidents have become the #1 cause of death among this age group. In this segment, we'll show you two very specific ways that young drivers can benefit from the skills and experiences of veteran racing drivers. The first is obvious: car control, the ability to use steering, throttle, and brakes to navigate out of a dangerous situation. While the second may be even more critical, that is the ability to spot that dangerous situation before it turns into an accident.
To me, most accidents on the road are not caused actually by speed or a lack of car control, but in fact a lack of focus.
It's about your awareness, it's knowing what's around you, knowing what to expect, not texting and, changing the radio. There's so many things in cars these days that, can divert your attention.
Yeah, I agree. I think in your everyday driving, you have to pay attention. I think nowadays there's a lot of distraction, your cell phone or things like that, and those I think are really dangerous things.
I think one of the benefits of being a race driver is you appreciate how much mental focus it takes to drive a car, and that can be at 200 miles an hour flat out on a qualifying lap. It could be at 50 miles an hour down pit lane.
Because you race, what you do is you're always watching. You're always watching things happen. Up ahead of you, is that car gonna wreck? Am I gonna have to avoid that? While you're still making a corner really fast.
Sometimes it's not your fault, and sometimes it's someone else that's, not paying attention and, is drifting over lanes, and he hits you. And if you would have been more aware of what's going on around, then you maybe could have avoided that.
You've got to be aware of the crazy people on the road. So, it could be people walking on the street, it could be somebody not stopping at a stop sign. There's so many things.
The only thing that anyone out there on the street ever learned would be vision and look ahead, look where you want to go, look several cars ahead of you. That would save so many lives and so many crashes. People just tend to stare right off the hood of the car and look at the car right in front of them, and they're not watching what's going on down the road. And if they were looking further down the road, they could see things happening and they would react differently to it.
The Williams Formula One team thinks the secret to training drivers to look ahead lies in simulators. And in a pilot program, they've made their latest racing simulations available for training road drivers.
The simulator technology helps train drivers by putting them in situations which are very close to the real-life conditions that typically lead to challenges. So in an immersive simulator environment, we can subject drivers to a whole range of situations which will allow them to be trained and assessed.
And the use of road driving simulation continues to grow as the technology improves. In Phoenix, Arizona, Driving MBA teaches young drivers every day, not on the roads, but on simulators.
Now, one of the things that we do in here is we try and make sure that we watch the students. Are they signaling? Are they actually doing any kind of scanning as they go through the intersections? What we stress is that as they're driving, they're looking for things that can potentially cause them to do something they don't want to do. And you want to make certain that you're picking up the information as quickly as possible so that you have more options available to you. In 6 hours, I can give you, of seat time, I can give you a lifetime's worth of bad driving experiences and what to be looking for and how to react to it.
So it's really about the mental aspects of driving. You go out there with a student who's been on the simulation, it's as if they've been driving for a month to 2 months, depending on their own skill level.
The other thing I suggest always is give yourself a way out. If you're driving in the far left-hand lane and there's a concrete wall or there's nowhere to go, well, now if something happens in front of you, where are you going to go? You can only go to the right if something happens in front of you. So I always like scooting over where in maybe a middle lane where I've got an out either way, right? So always be thinking about if something's going to happen right in front of me, how am I going to get out of this situation?
But sometimes you don't have an out, and that's where car control comes in, which means knowing how to take advantage of the latest technology.
People nowadays don't really understand what a car can or can't do. They don't understand ABS, they don't understand traction control, they just don't get it.
If you don't know how to react in a certain situation, all that stuff could be useless.
That's how a lot of kids get killed. Because they get out of control, they lose it, don't know how to do skid control, emergency evasive maneuver, and they crash and they die.
As racing drivers, we have obviously a lot of experience with car control, quick decision making, controlling a slide or a skid. Those aren't things they teach you in driver's ed. You have to go and look for that stuff. But there's a lot of places that offer a skid school or a car control school where they'll put you into an e-brake slide and teach you how to turn into a spid. Whether it's front wheel drive or wheel wheel drive, you have to do different things with your feet. These are things that we know, but most people who get their licenses don't know. So if there's one piece of advice I can give, especially if you've got a young kid or you are a teenager, just got your license, go do a skid school, learn how to control a skid. That way if you ever find yourself in that situation, you're far more likely to come out of it unscathed.
I think everybody should go through, not saying only Bondurant, but should go through a real driver's course rather than doing a three-point turn and knowing that you have to put on your blinker to change lanes. You know?
Everything we do here relates to road driving. I mean, the school, Bondurant School of High Performance Driving, sometimes makes people think that we're just a racing school, when the fact is 90% of what we do, 95% of what we do is defensive driving, teaching people to be better drivers on the road, give them more confidence. And so, you know, we teach everything from accident avoidance simulator to skid car. That skid car, you might have seen that, that's the best training tool we have. We can, in a controlled environment, put someone in a rear wheel skid or a front wheel skid and at 15, 20 miles an hour. So it's a very controlled environment we can put them in. So it gives them confidence to teach them what to do to get out of trouble when your car gets, you know, if you lose traction or if something happens, if a car pulls out in front of you, we teach you what to do, how to react to that.
I just heard something yesterday. Somebody said when asked what ABS is, they said it was automatic braking system. I mean, who really knows what it is, right? I mean, I know, but I mean, does the public think it's automatic braking system? Because that's wrong.
At 16 years old, you never get to understand, or, you know, other than hearing it's got ABS, what is that? But have they ever felt the pedal pulsate and understand what it does? Most kids, the first time they slam on the brake hard and the ABS kicks in, they jump out of the pedal and go sailing through the incident. So
we want to make sure that students know that that's a natural action from the ABS, and not to be alarmed by it and to release the brake, to keep your foot all the way down on it.
And the reality is they just never taught anybody how to use them. We see this every single day. We will have experienced drivers who've had ABS brakes for 10 years. Half the time they take them back to the dealership after the first time they feel the pedal pulsate because they think something's wrong with the car.
And you know, you're giving this 16-year-old kid a 3,500 pound vehicle. I mean, it's a weapon if they don't understand how to use it.
You are really operating a dangerous weapon, and so is everybody else around you. So we kind of have to share the roads, and you have to respect what that other person could do.
We need to take driver's education seriously, and then hopefully we will get to that point where you are not cool for speeding out of the parking lot at the high school at the end of the day.